So welcome all to our webinar on Power Hour IC Design. So in this webinar, I'll be taking you to a really quick trip to IC Design domain, taking a pitch stop at the Power Hour IC Design concept. So if you are a fresh graduate, you will get acquainted with some important terms and terminologies of the IC design industry. And also you will get a chance to self-evaluate your alignment on this alignment of your interest towards this exciting as well as the high revenue industry. And if you're an experienced engineer, you will be getting to know the increasing scope and relevance of this interesting area of design. And so with that note, let's get started. So in the upcoming 40 minutes, we will be quickly going through the basics of what an integrated circuit is, how it is important, what are the applications that are widely known, and what basically is a power-aware IC design, which is of our interest for this webinar. And we'll also see some case studies to get a feel of what we are really looking into. So we can see something in action. And if you are trying to make up your mind on what is IC design, whether I would be interested in that domain, you can also see for yourself like how it will be like to be an IC designer on a day-to-day basis, and how you can progress in your career path if you're looking for options in IC design. So I'm pretty sure that you would have heard about and have a little idea on what an integrated circuit design is. Basically, an electronic system consists of many active and passive devices. Like it can be implemented either in a discrete way using a PCB, where you will be putting all your discrete components like resistors, capacitors, and some ICs too onto that, and get the system up. Or what you can do is you can make all the required components in a miniaturized fashion and pack everything inside a single chip, making it an integrated circuit. So in the left, you can see how a discrete circuit will look like, which is having all these clumsy components sitting on the PCB, and if you want to use this as a subsystem for a bigger, larger system, you can see how much space it is consuming and how difficult it can be to debug anything upon this. So in the right side, you can see a beautiful picture of an integrated circuit. So what we generally see as an IC is this one, which is not exactly the design is. It is the packaged version of the chip that we are seeing in common. So down you can see where a packaged chip is opened up, and you can see the die here. It's called a die where the design actually sits. It's implemented in silicon. And you can also see the wires, the tiny little wires that are connecting to the outside pins, where these tiny wires are called bond wires, which connects to the external pins of this entire packaged thing. So this is how an integrated circuit physically looks like. And so let's take an example of one of the common circuit that you would have come across, a timer. So you all would have worked on good old lab experiments where you have used a 555 timer IC. So the same can be realized using a discrete system also, where you will be putting together all the components that you want on a PCB or a breadboard or a general PCB board, where you will be connecting everything through the wires and get the work done. But there is an easier way, luckily, like we have an IC where all these components that you will see in a discrete fashion will be sitting inside this small package, and it works the same and most of the times better as a discrete design. So essentially, ICs have made our life better by enabling the design of larger electronic systems, quicker, rugged, and reliable. So what we have is the passive and active components that make up an entire electronic circuitry built on a semiconductor material. Basically, most of the time it is silicon. So let's quickly discuss about some essential terminologies related to the IC design to get a feel of what the technology is. So technology node is the primary term among them. So this the technology node is defined for any particular IC implementation. It is related to the channel length of the IC. So for CMOS ICs, which mainly consists of MOSFETs or metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistors, whose cross section is shown in a very simple way here. So as you can see, the source, gate, and drain are the important terminals of the of a MOSFET, and the distance between, or the length between this source and drain, is what we call channel length. And based on channel length is what we are defining what the technology node is. So as you can see, in 97, it started from around 250 nanometer. In before that, it was even lengthier. And currently, most of the semiconductor industry giants is working on single-digit nanometer FETs. So not only CMOS, but also another advanced category of MOSFETs like FinFETs, like 7 nanometer or 5 nanometer, and even in the research, it's the size that the channel length that people are working on are 3 nanometers. So you can see how rapidly the technology node is decreasing. So it's always good to know what it means to mention about the channel length or the technology node of an IC is. So another term that you'll be hearing in general is analog IC or a digital IC. So their design and implementation are so widely varied that the design flow and the tools used are really quite different. So basically in an analog IC, you will be integrating analog circuitries like op-amps, converters, amplifiers, power converters like DC-DC converters, and all. And in the digital IC, mostly you will be coming across the circuitry that are implemented using gates. So that's the basic difference on what is inside the IC, and the design flow by which we implement both these ICs are also quite different. So, but however, most of the SoCs and system on chips and ICs with some or other form of programmability or intelligence, they have a mixture of both, like both analog and digital sitting inside the IC. They are called mixed signal ICs. And now coming to another terminology is IC fabrication. So most of you might have heard of the term IC fabrication, which is basically the process by which an IC is made physically. So there are lots of interesting technologies and device physics that goes into the process of implementing a circuit design into silicon. And what we are covering in this particular webinar is only related to the design aspects of an IC, particularly analog IC mostly, and with a focus on obviously the power awareness of the IC as such. Now, where is an IC used? This is, I'm pretty sure that this is a very silly question to you all, because we all are carrying a minimum of 14 chips with us always, even right now. So if you see the internals of a mobile phone in your hand, it will look something like this. It has all these ICs sitting inside, like starting from CPU to a simple temperature sensor. All this work is being done by separate ICs, which have different kind of working techniques, which have different kinds of circuits inside them. So now it's a very it's very silly thing to ask, like where the chips are used. It's everywhere, like in your computers, automobiles, defense, even your air cooler, washing machine, and smartwatch consists of so many different ICs that whatever you can think of. So coming to a closer look on our distant topic, which is power aware IC design. So what is a power aware IC? So it need not be a low power IC what we are talking about when you hear the terminology of power awareness. So what it basically does is it is very closely connected with minimal power usage, but it's not always the minimal power usage. So even though the power aware is the terminology widely used, energy efficiency or energy efficient IC is what actually matters. So if you hear the term power aware IC, what should come to your mind is about a power budget. Like the IC is given the power profile on which it has to work, with obviously a trade-off on its performance too. So let's quickly peep into how energy and power are related. So power is the the rate at which the energy is dissipated or consumed or accumulated. So the same amount of energy, as you can see in the representation at the left, there is a task A and task B, suppose they both use same energy. Let's say both are the supply that is coming from for the both the tasks are coming from a battery with a constant energy stored in it. So if you see in the task A, it consumes more power because it runs faster. And the same energy is being used by task B, but we can say that it uses lesser power because it consumes the same energy at a lesser rate. So this is how, like, when we are talking, when we speak about power awareness, what we really mean is it should be energy efficient. The energy that is consumed, whether it is in a slowly but in a lesser amount or faster in a higher amount, the energy efficiency, the energy consumed by the circuit for its operation should be minimized. So we can see in the right that we have defined the peak power and average power. So the power consumed by any particular electronic system is not constant over a period of time. It varies widely depending upon what operation it is running on. So the maximum power that it consumes is peak power, and over a period of time or over a cycle, if it is a clocked system, then you can average it over a single cycle, like how much power it is being consumed. So what really matters for the consumption of power is the average power. So now let's see, like, why we have to be worried about power. So let's think like this, like, by any operation that an equipment performs needs power. So sometimes it leads to a trade-off between, so whenever you're trying to minimize the energy or efficiency consumed, it's always, there will be a trade-off between the performance and consumption. So I just want to make a point here that there is a difference between the low power IC design and power hour IC design. So in low power IC, always the goal is to minimize the power, and even at the expense of having a lesser performance. But in power aware IC, the thing is, like, we are not compromising on the performance. It's not always the minimum power that is in our priority. It's actually a trade-off between how we have how the power budget is divided and what performance we need for at any particular point of time, and it keeps varying from time to time. So the IC should have that intelligence to decide how it should spend its budget. So why bother about power when we have power points giving out power all day, every day, and how much ever we want? But just hold on for a moment and think for a while. Like, currently, most of us use battery powered devices than any time in history, and the trend is exponentially growing. Like we have our gadgets which are running on batteries. We have our portable devices that are running on a battery, or mobiles, laptops. So you can think of the things that the electronic industry is evolving now. So according to the study of Statista, we can see that the growth in the Internet of Things devices that are generated all over the world is rising in a very exponential fashion, in a high exponential fashion. So it is in the numbers are in billions. So you can see how many devices are brought about every day in the electronic industry, which are related to IoT. So what is this? What is it about this being smart cities, IoTs, and intelligent systems? The common thread that runs behind all these things they are all run from battery. So being smart is common in all these things as well. So what is meant by being making a device smart? So what makes you smart, or what makes me smart, is the common sense we have. So basically, we have to integrate the sensors with all these devices to know what is going around device to make it smart. So it has to sense its environment and make decisions accordingly. and do the work on its own. So that what makes any particular thing smart. So for that, the key point that is integrated onto all these devices are sensors, mostly wireless sensors. And these sensors are placed all over the remote places where we cannot assure the availability of a power point to get the energy from which it can work. So we use batteries, obviously. So if your sensor is running on battery, and if you see the number here, it's around 50 billion devices everywhere, and it's still rising. So where do you go for batteries for all these devices? And all these batteries that are used are adding to the environment pollution, and it's also difficult to maintain and replace all these batteries in a regular fashion. So it's very difficult to have a device which drains its battery very fast, and it always needs a replacement or recharge of the battery. So this is where we have to, this is where power awareness makes sense. And in order to make sure that your battery runs for a longer time, your recharge cycles are less, and lesser batteries are used for all these purposes, what we have to ensure as IC designers is my particular design or my particular IC runs on a power budget so that the battery lasts for long. Having said that, that's not the only thing why we should be aware about the power consumption. So another thing that defines the world right now is data. So a lot of electronics go into the processing, storage, and transport of data. The size of the data that is being handled is humongous. That the heat radiated by all this electronics that handles data is really a headache for the semiconductor industry to manage. So each year, the data centers consume more than 2% of all the power generated, and costs an estimation of $1.4 billion to keep them cool. So maybe most of you might be knowing that Microsoft is currently working on an underwater data center to find a way to tackle this heating issue. So the heat generated by electronics is directly proportional to the power consumed by it, and hence there is a dire need for reducing the power as much as possible. So other than the battery operated device issue, we have this huge power dissipation, which is related to the huge heat generation from the electronics. So for all these clear and real world issues, the solution that we have is to have power aware ICs. So if you have power aware IC, obviously the key points that you can understand is it gives a prolonged battery life. The charging cycles required for each device is reduced, and if the power consumed by each application or each component is lesser, then you can ensure that your gadgets are feature packed. You can have lot in less battery. I'm pretty sure that most of us choose mobiles based on how much features are packed in a mobile, as well as how less we have to charge the battery. So it's very clear, like it's very easy to understand why we need power aware ICs. And also obviously we have environmental benefits of lesser batteries being sent for recycling. And as you can see in the figure here, it shows this structure that we can see here is a heat sink that is kept on the IC. So basically these are for dissipating the heat that is generated in high power ICs or high power boards that are inside our CPUs that are inside our data centers and servers. So there a lot of heat is being generated in this case, and as we can see, we need a lot of techniques to be put together with the electronics in order to maintain the temperature is lesser in spite of all these electronics getting heated up. So if you reduce the power itself, the consumption of the power itself, then we can ensure that the need for all these extra extra structures on the boards can be reduced, and as such you will be reducing the cost as well as the form factor of the entire system. So having said that, these are all the benefits of having a power aware IC. Now let's see about how to make a power aware IC. So in general, if we see the design process of an IC, there are different levels of abstraction, like starting from which technology that you will be using, what should be the system level architect, system level design of the system, how to define the architecture, what all components should go into it, how they should talk, and algorithm level, like how well should be the application carried out inside the SOC, and also last but not least, the how the circuits should be there. So these are not like these are not arranged in a high to low priority or any form. All these levels have hold equal importance when you are talking about an IC design.